Ramaphosa, I think that was always a possibility of a plan B for President Zuma. That was always, they could always live with Gwede Mantashe because he's, as we know, he Mantashes a bit and he's okay for the Zuma camp. And Paul Mashatile, of course, we know had been in discussions in any case with Didi Mabuza for a long time, about how to try and get to a compromise. So I think this was never, both Gwede Mantashe and Paul Mashatile was never a problem for the Zuma camp. The thing that I think that went wrong from their perspective was in fact then that Cyril Ramaphosa got in, and I think they would argue largely because of those court cases, because of the difference in those votes. So this, for me, I think Juju has got something there going there, that he, this is, to a large extent, keeps a lot of the Premier League issues and the Zuma camp issues and positions and powers in place.
All right, so we're mindful of time, so we're going to race through the last two. Deputy Secretary General, and this is how Jesse Duarte continued in her position.
The position of Deputy Secretary General. Again, we received 4 spoiled ballots with 17 abstentions, and the distribution is as follows. Comrade Jesse Duarte, 2474 votes, and Comrade Zingiswa Losi, 2213. Comrade Jesse Duarte retains her position.
Victory there for Jesse Duarte, and I suppose it solved a bit of a headache for the ANC, because just a week ago, Jesse Duarte was talking about the ANC losing its racial character, non-racial character, and also they managed to get at least one woman on the top 6. So they killed 2 birds with 1 stone with Jesse Duarte.
Well, I do think that the issue of minorities within the ANC is one of their biggest headache at the moment, because they seem over time to have lost quite a number of prominent persons, not just in the top 6, but in their provincial structures, in their government structures. They'll have to do something. The reason for losing the Western Cape was, again, not being able to deal with the demographic features of the region, but not having minorities well represented in a meaningful way that lives up to the non-racial, dimension. So Cyril and others will have to do an extraordinary job, and that has to be done in a deliberate, purposeful manner when you are actually crafting your leadership, your deployments, your appointments, to say you need to have that diversity and translate it later into your political capital when you are campaigning for elections.
Right. We've run out of time, so Leanne, do you want to take us through the last position?
I think we need to just to get into that last position, because we're about to say goodnight to everybody from here. But let's take a look now at that moment where the Treasurer General was announced of the ANC.
The very last position for Treasurer General, we received 6 spoiled ballots and 7 abstentions, and the distribution of votes is as follows. Comrade Paul Mashatile at 2517 votes, and Comrade Maite Nkwana Mashabane at 2178 votes. Comrade Paul Mashatile is the new Treasurer General.
So this announcement coming with a lot of mixed reaction from people just trying to sort of get their heads around Treasurer General Paul Mashatile, taking into account what he did in Gauteng and with Gauteng, and now moving into this major position of Treasurer General, which is a very big position. Do you think he's the right guy for the job? Dr. Fikena, what do you think?
Well, I do think that he has the profile, he has the networks because a lot of fundraising is needed. A lot of building relationship with the business sector is needed because campaigns have become a lot more expensive. And again, it's another case of a person like Ace Magashule who have built their base within their provinces for a very long time. They needed to outgrow their provincial bases and evolve into the next stage. So in that sense, I do think that he will actually fit the bill. But again, there are major issues being raised about the party funding once it becomes a transparent process, because the relationship between business and politics is still one of those very challenging aspects of our South African body politic.
When I look at Maite Nkwana Mashabane, when we looked at the nominations, she got Paul Mashatile got 1,581 branches, Maite only 270. Do you think that her vote was finally pushed up to these amazing heights by the slate?
Most probably, yes, and clearly there was a push then in this case for women, but didn't succeed in that either. I mean, you know, she's controversial again in government. You know, she's given some strange interviews, etc. I think Paul wasn't a surprise. I think we always thought he was going to make it. Just on a lighter note, Peter, I'm also really interested in who actually had those or in one case it was 6, but those 4 spoiled ballots that consistently came through.
We'll find
4
them.
spoiled ballots. So I wish we can find out who that was. You know.
Unfortunately, we're going to have to leave it there as well. But to both of you, thank you very, very much indeed, Professor Samadoda Fikeni and Melanie Favut. Always great having you. Thank you so much.
And most importantly, thank you. Thank you very, very much for watching. I know that it was exciting for you as it was for all of us. Have a wonderful evening. And now you can go on holiday. You know the results. It's the curiosity is over. And now the hard work begins for the top 6. And of course, we'll hear who the new NEC are as well tomorrow. Have a wonderful evening, everyone. Thank you for watching.
And special assignments coming up shortly. Stand by for that.
I have not recognized anyone other than the comrade from Mpumalanga.
Yeah, thanks. Chairperson, we are requesting for a recount.
I have not recognized anyone other than the comrade from Mpumalanga.
Chairperson, yeah, thanks for. Chairperson. Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. As Mpumalanga, I think we are comfortable with the names that are appearing on the list.
Thank you so much, Mpumalanga. Northern Cape. Northern Cape. Northern Cape, do you wish to make further nominations from the floor? Please go ahead and make your submission.
Yeah, we would like to nominate after Northern Cape. And we request the recount on the issue of Limpopo, please.
Excuse me, sir?
We are requesting recount as Limpopo on the name of Majola, because the name we believe it will go through, because we are not counted here as Limpopo. Your people did not count us. So we are requesting recount on that name. Thank you.
Comrades, at this point in time, I have recognized someone from Northern Cape. I have recognized someone from Northern Cape. Can we have a nomination from Northern Cape? Go ahead, Northern Cape.
The mic is, I'm Deshin Nganga. I'm the Provincial Secretary of the Northern Cape Province. We want to propose the name of Thembi Machola. Thank you very much. %25% support for the name of Thembi Machola. Orderly so, comrades.
Agency staff, kindly count all the delegates that are seated. Kindly count all the delegates that are seated and are raising their name tags. Anyone seated and is raising their voting delegate tag, count them. Only the seated delegates. Comrades, can we quickly try and make it faster, that side? Please. When we have order, we will do things in the right manner.
Well, there you have it. Scenes of jubilations earlier on here at the plenary at Nasrec as the ANC made that announcement that Crycil Ramaphosa has been the one who's been elected by the delegates here who were part of the voting delegates, just over 4,770 voting delegates who are part of the voting that took place here in Nasrec. The ANC has a new president. Let me just quickly introduce my guest. First of all, let's start with the ANC Youth League. Just what do you make of that announcement? What does this mean for the ANC Youth League, considering on the other side the ANC Youth League said that it wanted Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma to be the president of the ANC?
Well, thanks for having us and greetings to the viewers at home. Firstly, we must affirm that we accept the outcome of Congress. We support the elected leadership, including the president, Comrade Crycil Ramaphosa. So this says to us that the branches of the ANC, who are the final arbiters on election of leadership, have decided, but most importantly, they have said to us that we need to work together. As you would call that, there were two main lobbying groups towards Congress. So these branches have said that it is time that we unite, because they appreciate that the ANC is the only hope for South Africans. So if we are sort of fighting, we are not able to render services to the people of South Africa. So we don't have an issue, no comms. We have accepted the leadership. We congratulate the officials as elected.
Mm-hmm. Would you be able to give us some insights what happened earlier on, just ahead of the announcement? The announcement was expected just around 6 o'clock, but there was a long delay. We were told that there was a recount. Would you be able to bring us some insights into that?
No, I will not be knowing that, because I was not part of the people who are counting. I was outside. What I know is that we as delegates have been waiting for results, and they came. So even the Electoral Commission did not say that they did a recount. Mm-hmm. So we will not know.
It was certainly a tight race as well, and people are saying that you need to applaud Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, considering the margins between the two people. What does this mean, considering that she's received so many votes, and for the first time, of course, you had an ANC female cadre who was on the ballot in the running to becoming president, and the race was that tight?
Well, you know, I don't think it's important for us to talk about what does that mean. The contest is over. What we need to focus on, in our view, is where we go from now. Mm-hmm. And having gotten the instructions from the branches of the ANC to work together as people in the leadership, what we need to do is to heed the call by the branches of the ANC. It's time for the ANC to unite and lead South Africans.
Mm. Professor Siposepe, let me bring you in here. Considering how tight the race was, it was really, really close, even on most of these nominations as well, considering the other candidates as well. What does this mean for the ANC?
Well, I think if you consider that we started with 7 candidates, and towards the end, the race was, the contest was very ferocious and very intense. But the manner in which, towards the end, the members of the ANC were able to manage themselves, I would say what we should say is that the ANC must take credit for rising to the challenge. One of the challenges that they started well with the president giving a political report, because we had become used to disruptions whenever the president speaks. So you saw members of the ANC saying, this is our president, he may be outgoing, we may have issues with him, but we are going to allow him to speak. So he set a very wonderful tone. And even in the end, he started saying, comrades, we have a struggle and we're still comrades. And in a sense, he sort of sobered people up, because there was already a lot of, instead of ideological contestation, it had become almost a space of insult. So I think it started well. And today, like you say, the Nkosazana grouping, or as the president of the Youth League indicated, that you had 2 camps. Mm-hmm. But somehow the challenge was, would you be able to accept the outcome? And the fact that it was so close, it is still remarkable that they were able to accept accept those outcomes.
And certainly listening to Colin Maine now and saying that we accept the outcomes and they will foster around the leadership that has been elected. I guess that's certainly important because after all there will be the hangover of what is transpired here.
Yeah, but what has made it easier is when one must not look at the president alone. You must look at the top six in totality. Because what the